everyone, and welcome to WorkPro's License Ticket Document Management Training Academy. My name is Tanya Evans and I'm the CEO and the presenter of today's little session. For about the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to be taking you through this function of WorkPro. For those that are new to WorkPro, perhaps this is an opportunity for you just to remind yourselves of its capability as you get started with WorkPro. There might be those on the call whose company has been using WorkPro for a wee while and you're new to the role. So hopefully you'll pick up some hints and tips and dismiss any Chinese whispers that you might have heard that are incorrect. And also for those that have joined us just to get a refresh and also hear about some of the new things that we're thinking about conjuring up and are currently in project around this important function. So a little overview, I'm just going to quickly show you license ticket, the module and document management, how to define a document and how to send a request, some config options that you have, the candidate experience to quickly show you how a candidate would upload a license or a document, monitoring and alerting expiries and WorkPro insights. There's actually quite a lot of people on this call, on this presentation today. So this is being recorded, number one. And number two, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat and I will come back to them at the end of the session. Roadmap, I know in the audience there's a few people that just attended my previous training session, so apologies, here's a little double up for you. But for those that are new, just a little sneak peek to WorkPro's roadmap that at the moment takes us only out to September. So SMS, candidates are currently using this function to get a password reset and a reminder of their username. But due for release towards the mid or end of June, you'll be able to send all of your requests via text message. That's both as a single request and as a bulk request, and also includes those little reminders that the candidate receives from WorkPro. Vivo, so for those of you on the call who are using WorkPro for your citizenship work rights checks and using our integration with Vivo, currently if you're scheduling reminders to do a recheck for say someone on a bridging visa or someone whose work rights have expired, we're about to implement a polling so that once you send a request and have an answer, our service will just keep polling the Vivo database, and should there be any change to someone's work rights, we'll alert you to your dashboard and via email. And then the final one is we're currently in project to build out pre-employment medical and drug and alcohol testing. So that's due for release in September, fairly substantial project. If you'd like to know about any of those, yes, you'll be receiving comms about them, but if you have any burning questions, our team are here to help. So let's get on with showing you the WorkPro program. Oh, request failed. That's because my internet went down just as I was turning on this call. I am currently working from home because I live in Melbourne. So, license ticket documents. First of all, WorkPro has worked with the regulators, safety authorities to map and define the most common licenses, tickets, accreditations that need to be collated, collected, monitored for employment purposes. Bottom line is when you send a request, you can choose licenses, and depending on that license, we'll have classes and subclasses. So sending a request to a single candidate, coming over here, licenses and tickets, and you'll see that there's a whole bunch of licenses here, and depending on what you choose will depend on whether you receive further information, drill down to further information. So in this case, I want the driver. In this case of choosing a driver's and a heavy license, and for that, let's go with a light rigid, etc., etc., etc. So once you've decided and you've mapped the licenses or accreditations that you need to collect, and I'm going to talk about documents in a moment. But before I do, I just wanted to touch on working with children checks. So working with children checks is here. If you do need to collect or you need to request a candidate to complete a working with children check and upload a working with children check for the purposes of monitoring and verification, I ask that you don't use this license and ticket area. Instead, coming over to background checks and choosing your working with children and vulnerable people check from here. So I'm pretty sure that someone said, well, why is it sitting in your license and tickets area at all? The fact is that before we had our new working with children check, we had already had this in our license and tickets area, and there are some clients and some candidates that have uploaded that ticket and that still remains current, and we haven't been able to move them over or transition them over to this new background checking area. All right, so just to recap, if you need working with children checks, it's part of your license ticket subscription for WorkPro, so take advantage of it. You're basically dictating the state that you need the check, whether it's for paid and employee purposes. So it's a much richer experience for the candidate, and a much better journey for you as you monitor and verify this critical part of compliance for your workforce. All right, touching on documents. Once you have your documents defined, which I'll show you in a moment, once you've got your documents defined, you can also add any documents that you need to collect that are not licenses and tickets that you've actually defined for your own purposes. And let's just say it's a current police check, so you're just dictating that document from here and you send the request. So the difference between documents and licenses and tickets is that licenses and tickets are ones that have been set by the regulators or safety authorities, that these are common licenses and tickets that must be held or are held by people for employment purposes. Documents are defined by you. So you might need to collect, in this case, you might have a first aid certificate that you'd like to collect for your workers, or you might need some PI or PL insurance, or you might want to collect a current police check from a candidate rather than them doing that with Inside WorkPro. So we're going to leave that completely up to you to define documents that you need to collect and the information that you need to collect on that document, and then you can send that document request as part of your request for license tickets, whatever else you need in WorkPro. Just touching on how you create a document in WorkPro and some configuration options for you. Coming over here to Actions, Manage Document Type, and you're going to, first up, you're going to define the document name. So let's just call this Testing 3. Save your document. And that document and the name of that document will show up in that drop-down list from that requesting area that I just showed you. So be careful when you name your document. This is the document that's going to be requested of the candidate when they complete their WorkPro experience. So configuration options. There's a whole raft of field names that we've mapped that we know that are mostly want to collect and collate about this particular document. So you can decide whether they're going to be mandatory. So yes, an expiry date's mandatory. Yes, I want to know the authority who owns that document or who releases that document. And yes, I definitely want to make it mandatory for them to upload a copy of that document. Right, so if you might have a first aid certificate where there is no, there's only one page, not 2 pages. All right, so you can make those mandatory. And then there's a couple of options where you can say, well, do you want the information displayed on your dashboard? And the whole purpose of having that displayed on your dashboard is that it's a quick visual for you to track when it's coming due for expiry. All right, so you can display these on your dashboard. You don't have to. You're just toggling on and toggling off and making a decision about what's mandatory for the candidate to enter as part of their upload. You additionally have some options for some custom fields. So simply adding that, in this case, yes, it might be an insurance document, so you want the sum insured. So again, this field information or field name is being presented to the candidate. So make sure you've named it correctly, accurately, and you've got your spelling correct. And then of course the field type. So in a sum insured, you might just want an integer, right? And whether you make that mandatory or not. So some extra configuration options for you. If you have more than one site in WorkPro, you might want to make this document available to all of your branches or all of your sites that you have in WorkPro, or just one. So you might have in one particular site, they might need a standard, there's a standard operating procedure that someone needs to sign off on, but it's only relevant to that site. You would then just choose the site that that's relevant to rather than all, right? If it's all, it means that all of your sites will have access to it and be able to request it from the requesting screen. And you simply save. Okay, so that will then be available for you in your requesting area as you drop down that list of documents. So if it gets quite long, you can either search for them, or if it's quite short, you can simply select it and send it to the candidate. All right, I'm going to switch over to the candidate view. So you've sent your request via text and/or email, received their invitation, which contains a live link, which will bring them into this login sign up area, where they will indeed sign up if they don't already have a WorkPro account, and they will log in. The invitation to that candidate will also include a unique token that they need to enter here. For the purposes of this training session, I'll just click continue. And coming over to documents, I've been requested to upload 2 documents, so passport and a PI insurance. You can see here, I can upload new, or if I'm an existing candidate in WorkPro, I can share an existing. I click share existing. You can see that share the document you would like to share with your company name as a passport. So it will appear as a passport in your dashboard. So the candidate can drop in here. They can choose the documents that they already have uploaded to their digital profile in WorkPro. Click, yes, that's the one that I want to share with my new employer. If they don't have an existing document uploaded, they're uploading new, and they're following the requirements. So they're entering this information, thinking about the information that you made mandatory in defining your document. That will all be shown here as mandatory, with red around the information that is mandatory. Whether there's one file to be uploaded or both obviously would not show here. If you haven't asked for both of those, both sides of the document to be uploaded, candidate runs through this process, available on any device, selecting save. Once they've selected save, it will drop into their digital online profile as 3 documents stored. And in this case, you can also see from a candidate's point of view, oh, who have I shared my document with? I've shared it with WorkPro site in this instance. Into the future, they can also revoke that. So they can stop sharing, keeping in mind, privacy requirements, and that the candidate has the rights to do that. For licenses and tickets, it's the same philosophy. It's the same workflow. Here's the licenses that I've been invited to upload. Adding the information. Unlike a document, we're actually setting the scene for the information that's required. We've mapped it, we've designed our workflow like that. This is the information that a driver's license usually has on it, and this is the information we expect you to upload, along with a copy of the front of your license and the back of your license, and selecting save. All right, so that shows you the candidate experience in WorkPro. If you have a candidate that is not capable of uploading licenses and tickets, so they've registered for WorkPro, they're a little bit confused, I don't know what my token is, I've tried, it hasn't worked, there's a whole raft of things going on for them, you can actually complete this on a candidate's behalf. So I'm going to use Andrew Cornwall as my example. So I open up Andrew's profile, select documents, plus, and then you're dropping down that document type, adding the information. You've got a copy of whatever it is this document is, and you're uploading it on his behalf. Okay. A couple of things that you need to know about collecting documents on someone's behalf. I'm just going to go and find myself an example. Let's have a look at Tracy Lawton and her documents that have been uploaded. Okay, so once you've uploaded a document on a candidate's behalf, you can see that by default, that document has a lock on it. So if you upload that document or a license and ticket on someone's behalf, once you've uploaded the document, you want the candidate to be able to see this document in their online profile, you need to unlock this document. You need to transfer the rights to a candidate. Okay, so this gives you fair warning. What you're about to do means the candidate will be able to see this document in their digital profile. So you're making a deliberate decision and you click transfer results. You can also make a decision about whether you'd like to receive notification about an upcoming expiry of a document or a license or a ticket. Okay, so some of our clients decide there's just too many emails, there's too many alerts, and they're relying on our insights and reports and filtering function. So you can select this and choose to have it turned on or not. In this particular case, it's not an issue because there's no expiry date. All right, so you can use this function to be reminded or not be reminded. Just with documents and you're uploading on behalf of a candidate, if you think about, and some of our clients use us for this, they might have a probationary review that they do, 1 month, 3 months and 6 months. So some of our clients actually take that document and they upload it to WorkPro as a compliance element. They want to receive an email notification that their 3-month probation is due for Tracy Lawton. Tracy Lawton, they've had their probationary review. There's a document that's back and forth. They've both agreed to some actions as an example. You upload this document to Tracy's profile, but you don't want to share it with Tracy. Okay, so that's an opportunity and an example of where clients are using this function to store other information and documentation and choosing to share it with the candidate or not. In the case of licenses and tickets, you can do the same. You can choose whether you'd like to receive an expiry reminder about this. You can also see the driver's license, you can see what's been uploaded, see what the back, the front. You can also verify. All right, so you're getting that tick in the box to say someone in your organisation, and that certificate will show this person inside your organisation validated that the license that has been uploaded was not a photo of their dog, and indeed a license for Tracy Lawton, tick the box. Another really good compliance element. So now you're wondering, okay, now I've done all of this and my candidates have done the right thing and they've uploaded my documents and licenses and tickets, which is awesome. Now I need to filter, I need to make sure that they remain current. So you can rely on those expiry alerts that are being sent to you. 90 days out, 60, 30, and upon expiry. The candidate is also receiving expiry notifications with an email that states, letting you know your driver's license is coming due in the next 60 days. Please make sure, you know, we're not the regulator, we can't renew this license for you. Please go to the regulator in your state, make sure your license is updated in a timely fashion so that it remains current. So it's that kind of encouraging email. Licenses and tickets. You can say, show me all the licenses and tickets that are coming due in the next period of time. Let's just use 30 days as an example. No results there. Let me show who's expired. Maybe I'll get more information from that. All right, so you can see here, this is all of the information. These are all the licenses that are coming due for renewal. If this candidate no longer works for your organisation, you can archive them. Okay, so you don't want to see them in your filter. You can also look for a particular licence. So you might require someone who has a licence, and let's just go, I need to find all the people in my organisation that have a current electrical licence, and I won't be so specific, nothing is going to show up anyway because my data search is too narrow. It would show up, these are the people that have current electrical licence. All right, so that might be quite a useful filtering function for you as well. So use the filtering function to quickly show you the licenses or tickets or documents that are coming due for renewal. And then you can send a bulk request if you want to. So acknowledging that the candidate is receiving those alerts, you may want to send them a bulk new request for that license as well. All right, so it forces them into making sure that their employment-related license remains current. And selecting insights. Oops, I've opened that again. All right, so using insights, this is a visual dashboard that WorkPro is continuing to evolve, and we're getting better and better and better at it. But at a really high level, it shows you these are in the green zone. These are the licenses and tickets or compliance that's coming due in the next 60 to 90 days, or 30 to 60, you get the idea. And you're in the red zone here with these people have expired, they better not be working for us. So at a high level, just shows you simply what's coming due in the next 30 to 60 days. And we'll have a look at whether any of these contain a license. Yeah, there's a license and ticket. So you're dropping this down and you're showing, there's your candidate here. In this case, it's a police check and it's expiring in July. You can even get a deeper view of this person's profile by clicking here and opening up their entire profile, having a look at their entire profile, determining whether you need to send them a new request to get a new license ticket, upload a new document. Okay, so use this as your visual. It doesn't do everything. It doesn't send a new request from here. These are the things we're getting better and better and better at, and we have on our list for development. And you'll get comms as any of these new functions become available to you. Range here, so you can just drop this down and choose a date that suits you. Actually, I want to have a look at the next 3 months, or I want to have a look at what historically what we're doing. All right, so use this date range here to get a better view or a deeper view of what's coming due for renewal. I think outside of that, report, so use the reporting function, license expiry report, so you can just choose a date range, so you can then drop down a CSV file and do some filtering yourself, remembering that you're archiving off candidates as an example, so you can use that, what licenses are coming due for renewal, you're taking that candidate's name and you're sending them a new request from the platform if you desire. So use those reports. Outside of that, I think I am just about out of time. It's now 5 to 2. I do have some questions in here, so thank you for that. Yep, I will answer that question relating to SMS all in good time. Thank you for asking that question. At the moment, the candidates who are asking for reminders of their username and password, WorkPro is paying for those text messages. With PIPO insurance is uploaded, can expiry dates be added and then a report run each month to see which ones are about to expire? Hopefully, I've just answered that question for you. I believe I have. So yes, I would be using that reporting function and or the Insights tab. So maybe the Insights tab first, or the filtering function, and then running a report. So you've got a definitive list of any license ticket document that's coming due for renewal, and then filtering on that. Is there any other questions, guys? Can I help you with anything else? Naturally, this doesn't end the Q&A session. Our team are available for you. If you have an account manager, a WorkPro account manager, please reach out to them. Also, our customer support crew are very well versed and are probably going to be a bit more available for you. So if you have a burning question, call us on our 1300 number or send us a quick email. Don't forget, there's video tutorials are here for you, user guides, and of course webinars that are being recorded to remind you of certain functions and features. And look out for some comms that continue to be rolling out around SMS, Vivo, and updates to any license tickets, insights, etc., etc. If there's no other questions, I will conclude today's session here. Thank you so much for joining me. My colleagues over the next couple of days are holding other webinars. You won't be hearing my voice all week. So if you're interested in attending any other webinars, please do register, and we look forward to talking to you shortly.